Rightio. Today here, the Seafood Festival here was to promote seafood and the seafood industry. And without the seafood industry here in Hervey Bay, we just lose that many jobs. It'd be unbelievable. And we really need to support our commercial fishing in Hervey Bay, because you only have to look around at the infrastructure that we have here, the big cold rooms, the slipway, all the other infrastructure that goes with it. And for all the workers that are in this industry as well, it's the scallop peelers, it's the people that process the fish. And then you go down to the delivery vans who deliver the fish around the town and to other townships and some overseas even. And we just would lose that many jobs if this stupid quota system comes to fruition in 1st of September.
Shane Simpson's my name, a commercial fisherman, Hervey Bay. Well, been fishing here, 4th generation fisherman out of the Wide Bay area kind of thing, and it's sort of it's a sustainable industry at the moment kind of thing. It's been really good kind of thing. We're lacking in fishermen. We're sort of battling on as for years and years and years with government rules and regulations, and if this does come in, it's just going to devastate the fishermen in Queensland. I'm talking on behalf of fishermen in Queensland. If it does come in, it's sort of my fishing career is over virtually. I'm back to about 4 to 5 weeks a year of work. That's all I'm allocated to catch, and it's just going to, and I'm not the only one in Queensland it's going to happen to. No one can afford these days to go and buy quota or buy licences to add quota to their licences to keep going. So it puts me out of work, it puts my family out of work, and on top of that, it's like a bunny hop down the line. It puts businesses out of work, all shops. For instance, one shop in Hervey Bay here, one retail shop, there'd be 30 to 40 people lost their jobs out of it. Yeah, there's a lot more than just retail shops. There's restaurants, there's you name it. It affects a lot of businesses and throughout Queensland. And if the industry collapses, there's like thousands of jobs on the line, kind of thing. It's gone phenomenal, kind of thing. Our minister and our Labor Party in Queensland at the moment are just destroying jobs throughout Queensland. Well, the effect of is just going to be the lack of seafood caught from the commercial sector. We're sort of, for instance, like if the quota comes in, I've been sick for the last 6 to 7 years with cancer, and I haven't been working. They've taken that period of time on my logbook, and for instance, I have a $100,000 crab, an outfit, and it's worth nothing. I'm not allowed to catch one sand crab from now on if the proposals come in. Whiting and that, I'm down to nothing, naught kind of thing. So I've gone from about $150,000 a year down to around about $14,000 to $18,000 a year. So no one can survive on that. I have family to support, I have boats to pay off, I have house to pay off, kind of thing. So it will take a big effect, and it'll just devastate Queensland, kind of thing. And a lot of fishing families in Queensland are in the same boat, as I can say, as I am, kind of thing. I'm not the only one. 4 generations of fishermen. My son Jaden, he's 20 years of age, and he has his own commercial fishing boat and licence, and he's actually 5th generation fisherman in the Wide Bay area. So, and frankly, I think the government don't really care about the fishing industry or businesses in Queensland. It's not just the fishing industry that's copping a lot of flack. You've got the farmers copping it at the moment. You've got any business in Queensland is struggling. The cane farmers, anyone like that. Any business on the corner is a business, kind of thing. And the government seems to be just making it harder and harder and harder. They want jobs in Queensland, but they seem to be just cutting all the businesses' throats and taking the jobs away. So our Labor Party's just devastating our job industries. Like, there is reasons for some restrictions, but we've got hundreds and hundreds of restrictions now. The government should just actually leave the industry alone. We're virtually a dying race as it is. There's no young ones coming into the industry anymore, kind of thing, because no one wants to invest in the industry because it's such a hard job. Well, you just got to see today around Hervey Bay having the seafood festival kind of thing, how many thousands of people like our local seafood. So I'll tell you what, they're not going to come here for imported seafood, so I can assure you of that. So all I can say is just please support your commercial fishermen throughout Queensland. Yeah.
I'm a commercial net fisherman. I do sand crabbing, bait collection and pretty much covers everything we just about catch. Myself, it's have at least 30% downturn in availability of stock to the public. Fees themselves on fisheries have gone through the roof on a daily basis with VMS and fisheries, and then wanting us to pay for quota that we've accumulated the right to catch that fish. It just doesn't end. It just seems to be an endless money pit going out the other way and trying to restrict us to nearly half of what people catch. Well, we use pots the same as an amateur, but a lot of the time we're offshore and stuff, and the cost to go offshore is very high. Bigger boats, bigger gear, expensive fuel at the cost at the moment, and then paying for quota. So bait costs as well. And even if they keep going with the regulations, we won't be able to even supply ourselves with bait, let alone the recreational side to go crabbing. Look, it makes you look at trying to do other avenues, but you know, when you've invested $1 million in your life for the last 25 years, it's just heartbreaking. And you know, and there's a lot of people that are worse off than me, and I feel very sorry for those people. This government is just so far out of touch. The minister just spruiks about fishing for our children. Well, the fishing industry has had that attitude all its life, and the numbers of the commercial fishermen have dropped by about 70% in the last 15 years. So when is there going to be a sustainable level? This is all just a cheap shot at hard-working people that supply seafood for the public and consumers to eat on a regular basis. We know how good it is, we know how healthy it is. That's why so many people are here for the Seafood Festival today. It just proves on how much people demand fresh local seafood. And if this government keeps going, we're going to be down the track of imports, biosecurity hazards, the problems with the white spot disease. It's endless, you know, hormones in food, and you know, people wonder why they're getting, you know, just not healthy. It's just not healthy, and when's this government going to wake up? Australia import roughly 70 or 75% now, so and there's been a lot of problems with imports over the last 10 years with health concerns and hormones and disease. So this government needs to wake up to themselves and start listening to fishermen who are in this business every day and depend on it and look after this industry. People that sit in an office have no idea what happens on the water, and they try and regulate us, and it is crap, and people have had enough.
Well, the seafood industry is important to places like Hervey Bay and right down the coast of Queensland. And unfortunately, commercial fishermen are under attack at the moment, with the government bringing in policies that most fishermen will say will make them commercially unviable. So we're here to support them and to help take up the fight to the government. Well, what it will do is that it'll make local commercial fishermen lives very, very difficult, and in fact it could put them out of business. What we're saying is rely on the science, not the politics, and that some of the proposals that have been put forward really are totally unworkable and will put people out of work. No, that is the great challenge, and that's why we're here, and that's why the commercial fishermen are also speaking out, is that we've got to let the public know. We don't want local seafood industries to go down the drain. We don't want to have to import all our seafood. We want locally produced stuff, and that's why we're here as well. That's part of the issue, is that they're bringing in quotas which are just make it unworkable. Look, we're all for sustainability, but we want common sense, we want balanced decisions, and we want decisions that are in consultation with the industry. None of that's happening at the moment, and that's why the local fisher people are up in arms about all this. Well, we're pushing very, very hard for it at the moment, but unfortunately the government has the numbers in the Parliament. And our concern is that this is going to come in from the 1st of September. That's another 14 months until people can have their vote at the next state election. So we need action now, because we don't want these proposals being implemented in the first place. And so if people don't speak up, it will happen. And that's why we're calling people to action. Well, these are people's lives. We've been talking to fishermen that have done this for 30 and 40 years, and they are at their wits' end about this. They're absolutely frustrated, and they just don't know what to do. So we want to be here to help them, to add a voice to their fight, and we want the public to understand the challenge of this as well.
Look, the Minister needs to halt the process, go back to the drawing board and listen to the people that count. He's simply being guided by the Greens, by the minority groups here in this state. And unfortunately, the commercial fishers are the ones that are going to pay the price. I don't think he does care. You know, he says a lot and he says he travels a lot and listens a lot, but the proof of that listening is what he actually enacts in the Parliament. He needs to halt this process. He needs to make certain that it's correct, and he can't, affect people's livelihoods. If he's going to affect them, then he needs to explain how he's going to either compensate those people, or if need be, buy back. Now, not that we promote that, but if he's determined to create this situation where people don't see a future, then the very least he can do is treat these people decently, treat them with respect, and make certain that they do have a future. Look, they're passionate about the industry and the quality product that's supplied to Queenslanders. We need a viable commercial fishing industry. We need a sustainable industry, and we have that. We need people that have, that have confidence in the future. We have generational families and fishermen that have been providing quality product, wild caught product to this state. So it's important that they continue to see a future, and we need a government, we need a minister that recognises that and that doesn't play the politics. They need to be supported. I'm here along with our Deputy Leader Tim Mander and local member Ted Sorensen in supporting the local industry. We will continue to do that. We'll do that in the Parliament, we'll do that on the ground, and we'll hold this government to account.
Well, principally over the years when I was younger, I caught whiting. Because I'm older and I catch less, basically it'll wipe me out. Like I'm at a subsistence stage. I fish because that's what I do, that's who I am, how do you take the fisherman out of the water, So my superannuation will be basically wiped out. The other problem is that as the graph behind shows, that those of us that don't have quota will have to dump whiting. We'll have to dump perfectly good table fish, dead, over the side, and just to appease someone's bureaucracy. That's the problem. I've never tried to dump fish in my life, but I'll be forced to do it. So the other option is to get out. Most of the old guys, just with VMS, haven't been to work. They say they're making things simpler, and it's more complicated. Every time you turn around, you've got to be, you've got to be kept up with certain technology that we never used, we weren't brought up on, and we have no way of blinking meeting. No, I don't think they are aware, because they use the word quota. It's a generic term. What they should be saying is they're going to privatise the people's fish. The people's fish is all that fish out there. All I need is a licence to catch it on behalf of them. But as soon as it goes to ITQs, it becomes privatised, put into shares, which can be owned by elsewhere. Elsewhere can be overseas, and then the next generation will be forced to try and live off leasing it back. But then, does the public still own the resource? Will they have control over it? Will they have access to that seafood? No, they won't, because the idea is, once the multinationals have it, they'll export it. It's still prime quality product, it'll be exported. So the local person misses out. Whiting from here will be sent overseas. I've serviced local seafood consumers domestically all my life. That's all I wanted to do.
I've been coming here for about 7 years now. Seafood is so important, not just because we like the taste of it, it's the jobs. It's what it does for the local community. And if we don't support the local seafood industry, we're going to have to import it, and that's not good. I'm not allowed to swear, am I? I'll get in trouble if I swear, but a lot of people have been swearing about what the state government's going to do, and that's just wrong. You know, you look at your Urangan fisheries here, they employ about 60 people, you know, Murphy's about 60 people. There's so many local families depend on the seafood industry. You bring in quotas, you cut all that type of stuff, you're going to cut jobs and you're going to hurt families. Look, you know, no one wants to eat prawns from Vietnam or Thailand. We want to eat prawns that have been caught off the beaches here. So we've got to support the seafood industry. And whether you're Labor, Liberal, National or whatever colour you is, you've got to support the seafood industry. And shame on Labor for not doing it. The seafood industry stops in Hervey Bay, or Hervey Bay stops. You know, it's so important for this community. You might as well just suck all the water out of the ocean, because that's what will happen to the industry here.
I'm the manager of the Urangan fisheries. I look after processing, purchasing and wholesale. It's going to have a big effect on us. If that comes through the way they'd like to propose, we have the risk of losing our fishermen, and also we employ a good 50 to 60 people, and it makes your job security a lot harder. And also it's taken away from the people that won't be able to fish, that don't have boats. Where are they going to get a supply of Australian or Queensland fresh caught product? And especially Hervey Bay is an area where people come to buy seafood products, and we have a good following in the restaurants promoting local Hervey Bay products, and we take that away, it will have a big knock-on effect on our business for sure. It'd be very, very hard, you know, because we are ones that push our own products caught out of these areas, and if it's taken away from us, what product will we have access to and to be able to supply the public as well as the restaurants here in Hervey Bay?
I'm a chef I've worked for Hervey Bay for 14 years. I no longer work for them. I'm just building my new business myself. So now I'm a full-time commercial fisherman. I've had my licence for over 20 years and I've seen some massive changes in the industry. Not many are for the better, unfortunately. We're in serious trouble. The commercial harvest industry is in serious trouble. Hervey Bay in particular is a very important source of seafood, and these blokes are going to starve with this new legislation coming in. The amateurs have got, you know, the amateurs and wrecks next year. They're proposing a total month-long ban on snapper harvesting, which means a wreck or a pro will not be able to possess a snapper or a pearl perch for the whole month of July. Where's our seafood coming from? I don't know. I'm not eating imported bass, so that's for sure.
I've heard there were some changes coming, but I didn't know the implications of them. I think it's time bureaucracy started to step aside and let people earn a living.